Joining the podcast is a state champion. He is a legendary high school basketball coach in the state of Alabama, and he's also the current Jasper basketball coach, Coach Heath Burns. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Skylar, man. I appreciate you having me on here.
Tell me about the team you have at Jasper this year.
We got a lot of guys that are blue collar dudes, man, that just sort of like our town, sort of like our county, our community here. That's just a bunch of hardworking people. Like the kids are no different. They really get after it. I mean, whether it's on the floor or in the classroom, they compete, man. They compete to be the best they can. And I think our people enjoy it because, they see little bit of themselves when they come to the floor or the gym and watch them on the floor. Like, they're not too good to dive on the floor. They're not too good to take a charge or box out and do dirty work, and some people don't seem, that part of the game too sexy or whatever you want to call it. But our guys see a little bit, of competition in that when they see an opportunity to take a charge or an opportunity to box out or set a screen, a way to use their physicality. Our kids are pretty physically, mentally tough. It took a little bit, but we got great kids and they love to compete.
You mentioned the season starts on the 13th. You guys got Hansville, you said?
Right. Yeah, it's just around the corner, man. It got here fast. We wanted to get, a pretty tough opener. And, Hansville's very athletic. So, they're a group. Coach Chandler does a great job with those guys. And, they went to the Final Four a few years back and they got a new team, a relatively new team, but they were pretty successful last year. So we're counting on a really good team coming here on 13th to play.
Well, Coach, let me ask you, what do you think has been the keys to success throughout your career? Because you've been at Parrish, Jasper, Cordova, Dora, and it seems like every team you've had has been a really good team. What do you think has been the keys to that success?
Well, I've been really lucky, man. I'm blessed, where I'm at now, but also where I've been in the past. 'Cause I've always had great support from my admin. My administration here is second to none. And wherever I've been, like at Hueytown, it was great. Cordova, Dora, Parish, like it's even when I was in middle school at Maddox in town, like I've always had great admin support. So I thought that was a really, big key to me being successful. But kind of I've kept it kind of consistent. Like guys that have played for me in the past can come in and they'll see something that look like their group. So our culture has kind of stayed the same. The core of our main beliefs, the pillars of our foundations that we think are really important, like values such as maximum effort, and you can see them around our locker room, which is really cool. I thought, and that's another big thing about admin here. Like they really support what we do. So you'll see maximum effort, that word around a lot here. You'll see selfless, like being the most selfless guys. In the state of Alabama, we think we've got some really selfless kids here that they really put their teammates in front of themselves. They understand what that's about. We really grind on about consistently getting better. Like there's always constant growth in our locker room, whether it's on the floor, in the classroom, in their spiritual life. Like we want them to consistently grow and constantly grow. And we want them to be fearless. If you have those qualities, there's no need in fearing anything. And our kids, when they're on the floor, they play pretty reckless, and that's how I want. So they're pretty fearless. So I think kind of keeping everything kind of close, like the core values of our program have always stayed the same.
One of my favorite teams, high school basketball teams to watch was that Parrish team you had with Barry and Trayvon, who have also been on the podcast. I'm sure that was it was a lot of fun to watch, but I'm sure it was just as much fun or more to coach those guys. What do you remember about that year?
Well, I just remember I love those guys, man. I love those guys a lot. Trayvon Chapman's got my heart. That dude,
Hey, I will
he
say
was.
to this day, that is the quickest guy I've ever seen.
I seen him the other day, man. Well, actually, I saw him seen him day from yesterday at Win Dixie, and that dude, like, he's still in playing shape. But he was just a winner, man. People talks about him talking trash. Well, I kind of let him talk a little bit. That was part of who he was. So I didn't try to take that away from him. I kind of let him kind of branch out and be who he was. And, I think that's another key. I was like every year, it's kind of odd. Like even now, like some of my ex players are coaching with me and they don't say I'm soft, but in a nice way, they say I'm getting a little softer. So I'm adapting to the times. I don't think me coming in here like I was 25 years ago is going to work right now. So, being able to adapt the time. So I was able to adapt Trayvon a little bit. He had a little swag in his game, a little swag in his tongue, because he was very savvy with his mouth at times. He was great with me, but anytime those lights come on, one, you're going to get a guy to play a little bit. Two, there's no telling what he was going to say that night. He was a good talker, but man, he could back it up. He could flat back it up. If you couldn't talk, you couldn't play, I wouldn't let you talk. I do play, so I let him talk a bit. But Barry Hill, golly, man, that cat, he was a consistent guy that like I knew every day I was going to get a winner, like on and off the floor, a mild mannered guy, but would freaking eat your heart out on the floor like to win, man. He was just a winner. Like I love that dude, man. He was like those guys. I just love those guys. They're great kids, man. And, like I know, like if I needed those guys any day, like, and I know they're like this for each other too. Like Jermichael Harris, Reginald Harris. I mean, I could go on and on. Like those guys, they were just great kids and that loved to play. And I can remember this was great. But every morning picking those cats up, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, like it didn't matter. Like the earlier the better them cats. We came to 5:30 workouts for about a month there the last year. Like we don't want to let Parish or the community down. Like we loved Parish High School and we loved that community. So we were playing for who we embraced Parish. Like that was who we were. So our guys really competed, and those guys would get up at 4 in the morning, 4:30. I'd pick them up, and we go get the next guy. I'd pick up Trayvon first. We go get the next guy. Go get Denzel, and we go get Barry. We go get Mike, and Reggie, and then we'd head to the gym, and I fixed up locker room, the shower for them, so they have something to take a little pride in. But we worked out in front of Austin Peay, Sanford, Western Kentucky, UAB. I can't even tell you all of them. There's so many of them. It seemed like for about a solid month for those guys. It was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 o'clock. It was sharp. So, but those guys never missed. They just didn't miss. They were always there. They got after it. They were just really solid kids, really solid team. And then you look at our backup group. It was great. It was Isaac Chapman was coming into his own. As a seventh and eighth grade. McKelty was coming into his own as a sophomore. So we just had a really good core group of guys. Those 7 guys were solid as all get out. Then you had Jalen Clay, Noah Ard. Like we had some really good talent down there, and we just ran into a team that had a little bit more. St. Jude. What's weird about that Final Four? We beat Herb Jones and Walter Jones and those guys. Herb was at Sunshine there with his dad was the coach. As a sophomore, we beat him, and then his senior year, he was at Hale County, and I was at Cordova, and they beat us in the Final Four. And man, we just saw him get better. Like he just got better and better every time we played him. But when that Final Four, when I was at Parrish, though, with the 3 of the Final Four teams, us, St. Jude, and Sunshine all shut down. The only team that stayed open was Sacred Heart, and they won the next 4 state championships. So we thought that we could have been there, and we just hated that to see us shut down. Like we hated it. God, we hated it because we thought, man, we got a chance for a long time. We had a really good group of young guys coming up, and they're actually here. And one graduated last year. The Odom brothers were coming up. We also had some other guys, like the Hubbard kid was in that group. Skylar Heiss was in that group. Like we thought we could be really good for a while. And those guys were actually our ball boys. So it was really cool. A lot of their brothers played on that team. So it was just Parrish was a community. It was a family. And it was just, I loved it. I loved every second of being down there. Like I miss it. I love being here, but I miss those people. And, because we had such a good time. But I love it here, man. This is home.
Well, you mentioned Paris shutting down, and that leads me into my next question. What was that transition like when the school shut down? Wasn't there a choice where the students could pick between Oakman or Cordova? How did you guys end up all going to Cordova?
Well, it was kind of given like those guys were kind of waiting on to see what I was going to do, and I was kind of waiting on to see what option I had, and superintendent kind of well, it just kind of worked out. With Cordova was probably the only option I had, and if I was going to be with these guys, and there was no way I was going to coach and not have those guys right there. So we just chose to go to Cordova together, and really all the athletes went with us, and that was at Parrish, and the groups that didn't were the groups that were young, and they made the decision later to go on to Open when they were in seventh or eighth grade, and it hurt. It hurt leaving. We didn't want to. Like we loved that place. We loved our colors. We just loved the town. We just loved everything about it, and loved the school. We loved the history. Like I hated it, but it was a smooth transition because we had each other. Like it was that made it pretty special, and but we knew going in it was kind of going to be a tough transition because those people were kind of looking at like, well, here comes Parrish, and they're going to kind of move in here and try to take over. We didn't. We just want to be a part. We just want to be a part of whatever was going on in the next town, and we just want to be together. And that was our opportunity to do that.
Yeah, was there any tension with like the players that were already at Cordova and stuff like that?
I don't know. Like they never said that. The guys that inherited from Cordova were great, wonderful kids. Like we had great relationships while I was there. But I'm sure there was probably some tension, and some, deep down, like that little selfish desire is always there, and a lot of us. So I'm sure it was there. I didn't see it, but I'm sure there was some of it. But like I said, I don't know. The kids might have seen it, but they didn't say anything to me about it. And we love being at, I love being at Cordova too. Like I inherited a great group already that was with me, and inherited a couple more that was there, and then got a player like Jace Willingham that was just a freshman. And so, like it was like I knew looking down the line like we were going to be good for a while. So that was a good feeling, knowing you're going to be good for a little bit, kind of makes it worth it. But it was a good transition. But I again I hated it.
Well, when Paris shut down, was that discouraging, especially as a coach, because maybe you felt like you kind of got a program exactly how you wanted it, and now the school's shutting down?
Well, I was disappointed, absolutely. It took a while to get it, even though it was 1A. I think we treated it like it was college, like it was a 7A. It didn't matter to us. So we didn't treat it any different than I would a 7A or a college opportunity. Like I wanted those kids to feel like they were big time. So I treated it like it was a big time university. And we loved it. Like we embraced who we were, and like we had a chip on our shoulder. When we played anybody, like we took it serious. Like we didn't want to let our school or community down. And when, of course, it shut down, like we felt like we had failed to reach what we needed to reach to keep it open, but we didn't know that it was already a decision that was already made. So, I just wish we could have kept it open, but it didn't happen. And the good Lord knows what's in store for us. And I don't know if it was a test, or I don't know if it was a reward. I don't know what it was, but I got the opportunity to have 5 great years at Cordova, and I wouldn't trade the opportunity to be there. But I I loved it, Paris. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, who in all of your years of coaching, who would you say is the best player that you've ever coached against?
Whew. Well, we mentioned Herb. Like, he's pretty good with the Pelicans right now. He was a second round pick. He was a lengthy guard that just kept getting better. Like he had some, he struggled in college a few years offensively. Like he was always a defensive guy. Like, he was really good defensively in high school. Like, he was crazy good because he was 7 foot. His wingspan was crazy, and he would get in passing lanes. His anticipation was crazy, but he had really good offensive skills in high school. He didn't really struggle shooting basketball much. So he was a really good player. But I thought, he had a teammate at Sunshine named Latrell Pope that went on and played at like Bethune Cookman, and he like a Division I school in the MEAC, and he was like Defensive Player of the Year twice there. So like he was a really good player. When I was at Dora, we played against Levi Randolph that played at Alabama and then went on it and had a good pro career. He's still playing overseas. He played with the Spurs a little bit. Might have played with the Cavaliers for a little while, it seems like. He was a good player. Another golly, I forgot about this D2, but Josh Langford from Lee Huntsville. He was great, man. Not the one from Madison Academy, but there's one at Lee Huntsville, and actually they were cousins. But the guy Josh Langford that was at Lee Huntsville, he went to Auburn, and then ended up playing overseas somewhere. And but he was a great player at Lee, long forward, about 6'10", and his another cousin named Devin Langford was on that same team. And Devin ended up playing in Illinois. So they were really good. They beat us in the Sports Med Classic after we beat Bob Jones and Levi Randolph with Reggie Ragland. Remember Reggie Ragland that played linebacker at Alabama? Like that dude could hoop too, man. He was a real good player. So we beat those guys first round of that tournament. And then we ended up beating the Crutcher brothers at Hazel Green. Ended up playing Leah Huntsville and lost there in the good game. And then we lost to Kendall Jennings and Sparkman. So that was a great classic, the Sportsman Classic at the time. It's not, they don't do it anymore in Huntsville, but it was a really, really good classic at that time. Some other players that we played against were Kyra Lewis. Kyra Lewis was a second round pick from Hazel Green. They beat us 88-84 when I was at Cordova. Geez, Mississippi had a really good player from Columbus named Robert Woodard. Robert Woodard was a stud at Mississippi State for a long time. His dad played at Mississippi State. The Robert Woodard Award was named after, of course, his dad. He got the award, got picked up by the Orlando Magic in the second round, got drafted 2017, 18, something like that. Also at Cleveland Central that we played against that year was a guy named the guy that played he played at LSU last year, KJ Williams. KJ Williams played at Cleveland Central High School, and they beat us in overtime when I was at Cordova. He was a good player. Trenton Bott that plays with is he with the Trailblazers now? Or he's with the Nets, right?
Yeah, the Nets.
Brooklyn Nets.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He's having a really good career there. It took him a little while to get going, but also Kobe Jones played at Mountain Brook. He's with the Kings, right? He was the Kings second round pick. Gee, we played against some great players. I wanted our guys to see like guys outside of our area. So I always give them an opportunity to go play some teams out of Georgia and Tennessee and Mississippi so they could see really good basketball to get them ready for the playoffs. So they got to see good players like those guys. And I know another guy, when we were at Dora, we beat Vestavia, and they had two good players, Charles Gordon and the other was Jordan Swing.
Jordan Swing's been on this podcast.
All right, Swing was on that team that we beat at our place at Dora in overtime, first game of the year. Great game, great player. He was a dude, man.
What about John Petty or Alex Reese? Pelham and
Alex Reese
Nate Jemison.
Yeah, played against Alex Reese. Who?
John Petty.
Who's your last one? We did not play against Petty. We played against Reese, though. We played against Trey Petty. That was really good from Westminster. But we did play against Reese at their place. They had a couple of really good players. Another kid that played on that team was the guard there that played it. He was an all-conference guard at West Alabama. They were really good. We had the opportunity to play against some dudes back in the day. Like, I don't know if people around here really knew who we were actually playing. Like our record when we won it was like 26 or 27-9, but those 9 losses were against dudes like this, like Division I guys or NBA guys. And Ladarius Marshall that played at Forest Hill out of Mississippi. He played at Southern Miss. He had like a 41-inch vertical. He had the best vertical in college basketball. They were all talking about that like 6 years ago. Like, it was nuts. Like, we had between that 2015 and 2018 time, like we played. Well, actually, no. Let's go back from about 2009 to 15. We played some incredible players. So I was blessed and lucky to have great players. I was also able to get them out, let them see good players, and see really good teams. So it would get them ready and for college basketball, but also for the playoffs. And I thought that was really imperative to what we were doing because sometimes locally you can't find what you need that you're going to see in the playoffs. I mean, you can't if you're traveling 5 miles every night, you're not going to see what you need to get ready for the playoffs. So we always branched out and played who we could. That gave us the opportunity to get us to the next level.
Well, kind of playing off of that, have you ever coached against a player that maybe, apart from him being a good player, you thought would fit your team that you had currently, perfectly? Like if we could just get this guy, this would be like the last piece of the puzzle kind of thing.
Well, I thought that a lot. I didn't go into it, but I've always thought, when if I had that guy, yeah, I mean, I've always, but I'm not going to go out there and say, hey man, you need to be here, Jasper. I'm sure there's rumors out there that I do that. I don't do that, Skylar. All right. I always thought you could have been a really good player for me, Skylar. I always
Man,
wanted to recruit you, man. All right. So I did recruit you. Okay. Now we can let it like you've been out of high school how many years now?
5 now.
5. So we can openly tell everyone that I did recruit you to come play for me. All right. I can't get in trouble, right?
No.
Okay. All right. So I recruited Skylar. But that's the only secret only one I'm gonna give out.
I ended up committing to the legendary Billy Connor. But if I could go back, man, I would definitely put on the Cordova red and blue for Coach Burns because Colby was there. My good buddy, that good athlete that I grew up with, Colby Fuquay.
I
He
love
was
that
there.
dude. Like he was another dude. Like my gosh, when we battled against Hell County, he shut her down. Like, he gave her fits. Colby could flat guard you, man. He would frustrate you. He got a great bounce. Like he could move. Like he was laterally like so crazy quick. He had great hands. Like I love coaching Kobe Fuqua. He was I wish we'd had him his senior year. Of course, we won it without him. He showed up on championship night, sounded ready to play coach, but I hadn't seen him about 2 months at that time. So I, of course, didn't let him play, but I'd love to have let him been a part, but he wasn't around a lot because he had surgery and he had so much going on. But Fuqua was an awesome dude, man. Great kid. Like, love that kid, man. He really battled for me though for 2 years.
So playing off of Colby, you guys ended up winning a state championship at Cordova in 2018, I believe. What was that moment like?
I didn't think I was ever going to get one, man. You lose one, you lose two, you lose three, you lose four. I mean that sucks, man. It hurts. But then you look back and you sit back after a while, you say, man, we accomplished a whole lot. Like but it begins to kind of set in. When are you going to win it? Like you've had dudes for a while. Like, what do you need to do to prepare to get past those guys? And I don't know anything else we could have done. Like we all like I'm fearful of someone outworking me. Like I don't know why, but like when I go to bed, like my fear is did someone outwork me? So I go to the drum. What if I got to do tomorrow to make up? Like what do I got to do the next day? And like I know it's kind of crazy on my kids at times, man. I just make sure I want to make sure that I give my kids every opportunity there is to be successful. And I hated going to bed thinking that someone freaking outworked me. And it drives me nuts. And I remember losing those games and thinking, dear God, those kids deserve more. What the heck did you not do? And then finally winning, I was like, dang it, did he go 10? Or because I know you've seen that. Like when Chapman goes up and blocks that shot, did he go 10? And the referee waves it off. Like, and then I went nuts. And it was a great feeling to see Isaac after 5 opportunities. Chapman was there 5 times. Like I knew it was a lot on him too. Like to see Isaac finally win it and see Jason, Demetrius, the seniors win it. Like that was a big opportunity, big moment for those guys. But to also see those football guys, that showed up right as basketball season started and that really weren't basketball players. They just competed like Aiden Gay. He was a competitor, dude. That dude, he just got after. And then, of course, Dylan Henders and Cam Cooper was on that team. Like Kaysen Smith was on that team. Like those guys, man, they just gelled. Like I don't know, those kids loved each other, and just and then to see not only we won it, to see Isaac get Player of the Year and Jace get Runner Up Player of the Year, it kind of, and they both got first team All State. Like those guys met every goal they wanted to meet, and then of course Isaac plays Division I basketball. Um, Jace plays Division II, and now he's getting to play at Belmont. He's finally getting to reach his destination he wanted to be at. And man, Belmont's got a great program there for Coach. Coach Bird's been great for years, but Jay's getting to be there. Like that is so awesome, man. That dude, he can play. So getting to see all those guys, man, and then finally getting that monkey off your back felt great, But the next Monday rolls around, and guess what you're thinking about? The next. So, you never get satisfied as a coach or as a person, like, but you always wait for that next opportunity. So that's where we're at now. We're looking for those next group of dudes, and we feel like we got some good players now, some good pieces, and we feel like we can create some more of those pieces, as they get a little older. So we got some great pieces here.
Well, Coach, I know you definitely could coach in college. You definitely have the resume for it. How come you've always decided to stay in high school?
That's just not my calling. Like I just never have felt like that was my thing. I've had some unique opportunities before, but nothing like that I really wanted to investigate or go into. Like this is where I can make an impact on kids. I feel like I don't know if I can pull that off in college. So I've always thought my calling was here. If the Lord told me, hey man, you need to be here. Like if I really felt like this is where God wanted me to be, like if I felt peace, like I would be cool with that. But it's not. It's just nothing I feel peace about. Like I really love being in high school. I love Jasper. I love Jasper High School. I live not even a half a mile that way. I don't even want to tell you how I got here. Like it's an easy drive. Like it's so great. Like I love it here, and I just love high school kids, man. I love our guys, man. I wouldn't trade the opportunity to coach high school for just any opportunity to coach in college, and I don't want any opportunity to college. I want this opportunity right here. I love this opportunity.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you chatting with me. I've always admired you and the teams that you've had, so this has been a real treat. I appreciate it.
Man, I enjoy hanging out with you, Skylar. I really appreciate what you're doing for sports in our area, and dude, you're making a great career for yourself. You're going to be a real good. I know you're working for Al Blanton, right? So you got don't let that guy get you in trouble. All right, he's a great guy. You're doing great things for our community, and we really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate that, Coach. Have a good one.
You too, man.